Is that true?
No, I didn't say that.
No.
I'll say, I don't know what I'm alleged to have said or not.
He said there's no application.
We do not have an application. We do not have a complete application from the St. Lawrence Wind Company. Period.
Okay.
There has been no correspondence between them and myself, no phone call between them and myself, no phone call between them and our consultants. All right? So, if you ask me about St. Lawrence Wind, I have no idea what they're doing, if they're doing anything.
So that, look, the CB transcript then was somehow a...
Who knows?
Well, I'll just ask you, so you did not say that there will not be an application submitted in the next year. You did not say that last month.
Hester,
I'm just
I don't
asking.
know.
Okay, you don't remember, okay, fine.
If you want to know if we have an application tonight, the answer is no. Okay? If you want to ask me my personal opinion when the meeting's closed, you know, my guess is as good as anybody else's. At this point in time, I have no idea what they're doing. If they were to submit an application, we will let everybody know. And then we will have a second meeting to discuss it. Or not discuss it if we don't like it. Until such time, there's nothing to do with it. Period.
Say, my opinion is that if there are going to be criteria for either or both projects, should applications be, I'll segue from Mr. Edsell's comment to say, my opinion is that if there are going to be criteria for either or both projects, should applications be submitted, I still advocate for on the discussion as soon as possible. And I use that to say, when I took this position, I asked my predecessor for all of his files so that I could become familiar with the documentation that had been communicated to and within this board. And I had to ask 3 times, and finally what I was given was the town, a copy of the Town of Cape Vincent zoning law and the Town of Cape Vincent subdivision control law. I would have to say, did the individual have knowledge of what he was voting on, and was he sufficiently aware of his obligation for due diligence? I'd have to say that's an unanswered question. I took it upon myself, therefore, to, on my own dime, copy 54 documents in the town records going back to the first part of '07 relative to wind involving the attorney group in Albany, the planning board, Bernier and Carr, Kavanaugh and Tachi, Schomer, and a few others. And when it comes time to talk about BP's supplemental DEIS and anything application related from Acciona, we're going to have a long discussion about it. How we are still at a point with no wind law after all the evidence of reasonable challenge to what both developers were presenting and how they went about it. Again, for voters for wind, I think my observation from reading all this material, again, I paid for it myself, was that you have not been well served by this process. As far as the town is concerned, at large, there's a lot of holes, ladies and gentlemen. At any rate, this has got a long way to go, and perhaps conditions beyond the environs of Cape Vincent are going to dictate what happens, such as the price of natural gas and how many wells keep on being discovered in eastern Pennsylvania. I personally do think that the onus is on the town board to decide that they do want to have a law that if it sticks in this body, we're going to have a long discussion about it. That being said,
I do have one other comment.
Sure.
Before we will accept an application or consider an application, St. Lawrence Wind, in my opinion, will need to submit a map showing who they have contracts with. An updated map as of that minute, not when it was done prior. Right? I want to know, I want them to take a map and I want to know who's got either a turbine, a line, or signed some good neighbor agreement.
to that I would add, I'd like to see who has good neighbor agreements and who does not have a good neighbor agreement. I think all of it needs to be in the public eye. This is.
They're going to need to do it with some kind of color coding or whatever, so it's clear when you look at the map who is in the project, who is not in the project. And then you can start looking into what criteria you're going to use if and when you get that far. All right, and you can take as much time as you want, because they were in a yank, and we're sitting here doing nothing, so they can wait for us.
Colleen, you're number one.
At last town board meeting, there was some confusion as to whether these planning board meetings would be videotaped. And my understanding at the last planning board meeting was that you would all agree that the town was going to pay for it and it would be taped. And then there was confusion arose at the last town board meeting. So I'm thrilled to see them here today. I'm glad you guys agreed that taping.
Unfortunately, somebody else is paying for it. We have not yet done a motion on that. There is a ton of confusion on this. I don't know who's paying for it. It's my understanding that the town was
Do I
not.
take back my compliment of how well I thought you guys did by saying it's great to have a record for the town?
The thing was over. We did not take action.
I thought you did. I was here. I was under the impression that you had.
We did not do an official motion to do this.
Okay, I just thought you would all
Right,
agree
Brooks?
that it was, as long as the town was
We
paying
did
for it.
rather than just my comments or Mr. Edsel's comments of personal opinion. Official wind business, you know, we accept absolutely that they would be taped. As to whether or not
It's great to have a record for the town.
some other body wanted to tape this second Wednesday of each month.
Planning board meeting, when we were talking about how she kept records, and that our comments would be part of the record, and you sat there and said that the video was the record. But if you're not going to tape every meeting, then that's not an accurate statement.
To be absolute, my point when I say record, and I should have been more clear about this, because legally, from the state of New York standpoint, the official record is what Karen comes up with. For the public's information, for clarity, for comprehensiveness, yeah, that's why I think the camera should be here, so you hear everything.
At every meeting, not just Wednesday.
Well, that's as far as who's going to pay for that, if the town wants to pay for the second Wednesday, it is just for the comprehensiveness and the coverage of what was said. But really, from a legal standpoint, is what Mrs. Borsey